Okay, let me be honest for a second. I feel like lately I've been talking a lot of bad about Mortal Kombat, about what it gets wrong. You know, the stuff like timeline resets, system changes, balance debates, design decisions, you name it. And yeah, that's all part of the conversation on why Mortal Kombat as a whole is bad. But here's what I started thinking about recently. If Mortal Kombat in general was as actually flawed as some people say, then it wouldn't be one of the biggest fighting game franchises in the world. Like, at some point, you have to zoom out and ask, why is this series still super successful despite all its shortcomings? Because it's not just luck, it's not just nostalgia, it's not even controversy either. There are real reasons why Mortal Kombat works, even when people argue against it. So today I just want to flip the conversation. Not what Mortal Kombat gets wrong, but what it absolutely gets right and better than almost anything else in the genre. But if you guys don't know me by now, I'm Mr. Frosty Flames, but you can call me Mike. We do anything gaming news, reviews, playthroughs, analysis, etc. And we do it in a chill way with no over editing BS. So if you like that style of content, be sure to hit that sub button and join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. We're closing in. We're like 3 subs away from 1,700 subs. So make sure you sub and get us to that goal. Anyways, back to the video. One of the biggest strengths Mortal Kombat has right now is something a lot of fighting games actually struggle with, and that's instant identity. For example, you could show someone a random screenshot of Mortal Kombat, and even if they never played a fighting game in their life, they still know what it is, and that's not normal because identity is everything in gaming. The fighting game genre is so oversaturated with tons and tons of games because, frankly, it's one of the more easier games to make, and you could get a lot of success from, having a successful fighting game. But it's so oversaturated that you have so many different games with similar art styles that you could really just choose one and then show them a screenshot. Now you're gonna be like, I don't know what that is. I could tell it's a fighting game, but I don't know what it is. But Mortal Kombat is instantly recognizable. You have characters like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Raiden, Kitana, Sonya, Kano, and those characters have basically crossed into mainstream pop culture. And I don't mean just, popular in gaming. I mean they're recognizable outside of gaming entirely, and that's rare because even in strong franchises like Street Fighter or Tekken or Guilty Gear or whatever, you don't always get that same level of instant visual recognition. I could argue maybe it's sort of similar in Street Fighter because Street Fighter has Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Zangief, Cammy, etc., so they're kind of in that same level. But I feel like Mortal Kombat is a little bit higher, and Mortal Kombat sort of built icons, not just characters, and that changes everything. Now let's talk about something Mortal Kombat does that a lot of fighting games don't fully commit to, and that's pure spectacle. Every fight in Mortal Kombat feels like it's trying to be the most intense thing on the screen. Hits are very heavy, the sound is good, animations are more exaggerated, and everything sort of has impact. And then on top of that, of course, you add fatalities, brutalities, friendships, basically any cinematic finisher, and suddenly the game isn't just a fighter. It's sort of like a show, a performance, especially when you have things like X-rays, fatal blows. Even casual viewers can watch it and go, okay, that's insane. And that matters than more people admit, because every game doesn't have to be purely technical. Some games succeed because they feel exciting to watch and play. A lot of players, just want to go and play Mortal Kombat even if they're casual players because it's fun to just watch the fatalities. It's fun to just beat up your opponent and just go through the characters and view their fatalities because people love that, and Mortal Kombat leans into that harder than almost any other competitor. And then we have to talk about why it stays relevant. Now here's something that people often overlook. Mortal Kombat doesn't just stay popular because of quality alone. If that was the case, then Mortal Kombat would have been dead because of the releases of MK11 and MK1. Those honestly just sucked ass. It stays popular because it never disappears from conversation. Every few years something interesting happens. A new reboot, a new system, maybe a controversial design choice, maybe a cool guest character, or a borderline full-on story reset like what happened with MK1. And then suddenly everyone is talking about it again, even if it's negative or positive, even if they're arguing, even if they disagree. And in modern gaming, attention is power. There are franchises that quietly release good games but still fade away from public discussion, and Mortal Kombat doesn't do that. Even its controversies sort of keep it alive. And it's not just games either. The franchise has expanded into movies and media in a way that fighting games never managed. Like, you could even take Mortal Kombat 2, the movie, because it shows something important, that the brand Mortal Kombat works outside of gaming, because that movie is a banger. Now trust me, if you haven't seen that movie, you should go see concede, I think it is the best Mortal Kombat movie to ever hit cinemas. It has simple character archetypes, and it's very true to the actual game that, came out, so it works well in cinemas. And a lot of game franchises struggle when they leave games and go to cinemas or shows or something else, but Mortal Kombat doesn't, and that's a huge reason it stays culturally relevant. I mean, they made Mortal Kombat comic books, they made the classic movies, even Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is regarded as one of the worst movies of all time, is still memed a lot. And the classic Mortal Kombat movie that came out in 1990 whatever, right, that one is iconic. And I want to be careful here because I've done deeper comparisons before, but to compare it to other franchises, let's keep it simple. Games like Street Fighter 6 absolutely win in competitive depth. Games like Tekken 8 has some of the most complex fighting systems in the genre. That's not even up for debate. Mortal Kombat is blown out of the gate, if they try to compete with Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8. But Mortal Kombat isn't trying to beat them at that, I don't believe. I believe it's playing a different game entirely. Where those games focus on, precision, frame data, deep mechanics, Mortal Kombat focuses on, identity, spectacle, accessibility, and storytelling. In that lane, it sort of dominates. And even then, you could say, okay, Mortal Kombat 1, the story sucked, right? It's been going downhill because of the timeline resets, the multiverse. It still has a pretty decent story. I mean, it could be better, but as a casual fan, it's pretty cool to just play through and go through the chapters and watch and see what happens, because the cinematics are amazing. And I also want to talk about something simple but important. Mortal Kombat characters are really built to be remembered fast. You don't need lore essays to understand them. You don't need to look up a video, who is this guy? Because you understand that Scorpion equals revenge, Sub-Zero is an ice warrior, Liu Kang is like a chosen protector, Raiden, god of thunder, etc, etc, because they have simple ideas but strong execution and strong design. And that simplicity makes them stick in your head instantly. And that's why even casual players recognize them. It's design clarity, and clarity is powerful. Like, if you go to a Mortal Kombat non-fan that, knows a little bit of the series, they're gonna be like, hey, that guy? He's pretty cool. He's got the teeth and the blades that come out of his arms. And then you're gonna know, okay, he's Baraka. Oh, that guy with 4 arms? He's pretty cool, right? Then you're like, oh, he's probably talking about Goro. And then they're like, yeah, I like to play as the green ninja, the red ninja, the purple ninja, etc, etc. And that's simplicity at its finest, because people instantly recognize them and recognize the moves and their characters, but even if they don't even know their name, it's still iconic in that way. And this is why the series survives everything, because even through massive story resets, gameplay changes, system experience, balance, debates, community arguments, you name it, the franchise never really dies out. It just sort of evolves in different ways. Sometimes people hate the direction, sometimes people love it, sometimes it's just mid, but they never stop talking about it, and that's the key difference. A lot of franchises try to be universally liked by everyone. Mortal Kombat just tries to be noticeable. So after all that, I think it's easy to get caught up in the debates about what Mortal Kombat should or shouldn't be, but when you zoom out, you start to see why it's lasted this long. It's not a fighting game, it's a brand with identity. It's a spectacle machine, I could call it. A franchise that knows how to stay in the spotlight even when people argue about it. And honestly, that's harder to achieve than most people think, because in gaming today, being forgotten is more common than being discussed. And Mortal Kombat, it's really never forgotten. So yeah, this is me stepping back and saying, even with all the criticism, all the debates, all the changes, Mortal Kombat still does a lot of things really right. And I feel like that's worth acknowledging. But that doesn't mean everything I said in my previous videos is just like, oh, it's like I switch sides, I'm being positive now. No, I'm just being fair. I'm talking about what Mortal Kombat does right. That doesn't take away that as Mortal Kombat fans, we deserve better, because we honestly do, because we've been given trash for many, many years now, and it really hurts to be a Mortal Kombat fan right now. But we can't forget, why the series is good, why we fell in love with it in the first place, and this is probably why. But this is just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. There are more Mortal Kombat videos coming, good and bad. Like, I'll talk about the bad stuff and I'll talk about the good stuff. I'll talk about everything Mortal Kombat, anything FGC, anything gaming related, period. So you guys already know what to do. Join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion, subscribe, become a Legionnaire today. Thank you for watching. Mr. Frosty Flames out. Ciao.